Hi, welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to be participating in the Look for Less challenge, and it's hosted by the Latina next door, which is Yami's channel, and it's co-hosted by Creative on the Cheap, which is Courtney's channel. And I'm going to link both of their channels down below in the description box along with the playlist. So go and make sure you check out the playlist and their channels, and you will find so many ideas on how to make things that you can find in the store for so much less expensive. And there's going to be a ton of great projects out there. Now let's get going and I'll show you what I've done. I am going to be recreating a floral centerpiece that I found at Pier 1 Imports. And the original price for this floral centerpiece is $49.99 on their website. And I'm going to show you how to make it for less than $10. Now to begin with, I have this wooden bowl that I purchased at the thrift store about a year ago. I got it for $1. I think maybe it is another type of wooden nut bowl. I'm not positive about that. But I just took and I'm sanding it up real good to just take off that gloss so that when I paint it, it will hold the paint. And I'm just going to sand that real good, and then I'm going to wipe it off and get all the dust from the sanding off from it. And once we have that all done, I'm just going to take it outside and give it a good spray. Now you can see it was very windy. And it was kind of cold out. It was in the mid-30s and it was very windy outside. But we got it done. I gave 2 coats of paint along the outside of our bowl. And I just did 1 coat of paint on the inside and on the bottom, because most of my paint was just blowing away. So it was a little hard to paint. Now, what I used for my paint was just some of this leftover Rust-Oleum paint and primer that I had from another project that I had done. And you can see it actually covered this really well. Like I said, the inside and the bottom, I just gave 1 coat, but this outside portion that you'll see, that I did 2 coats on, and it really covered it nice. Now, what I'm doing here is I just have this block of foam that I purchased from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just scoring this so I know exactly where I want to cut it to fit inside our bowl. And I don't even bother to take the plastic off. I just go ahead and cut right through the plastic and then set it in my bowl right with the plastic on. It just kind of keeps everything neater and cleaner, in my opinion. That plastic is so thin, it's not going to make any difference. And in a minute, you'll see that a lot of it comes off anyway when I cut it a little bit more. Now, I'm just taking a little piece of foam that I had left over from another project and kind of filling in a little bit here on this side of the bowl. And that filled in pretty good there. And now I'm going to go ahead and grab our part of our foam that we had left over that I just cut off. And I'm going to cut a little piece off to fill in this other side. And I just use an old kitchen knife for this. This is just a knife that I kind of keep around for crafting. I just like it because I don't even know why. I just like it. I use this old kitchen knife, and when I'm not using like a X-Acto knife or something, I just find that this one comes in really handy. So I just keep this old knife around, and that's what I'm cutting this with. And now I'm just going to tuck that piece right in there. And now I'm just going to trim off any excess parts, because I don't want anything sticking outside the bowl. And that's good. Now, once I have that done, now I'm just using this knife and going right along the top edge of my bowl, and I'm going to cut off the top layer of this foam. so I don't have anything actually sticking up above the bowl when I'm all done. And you can see how the plastic just goes ahead and peels off at this point, and that's perfectly fine. And then I can set those aside, and I'll just keep those for another project. I always keep all that stuff because just like I used a little piece left over from a different project on this one to fill in, all those little pieces, just you can keep those and fill them in for other projects later. And now you can see that our foam is nice and flat to the top of our bowl. Now next here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this bunch of flowers, and this is just a gorgeous bunch of flowers that I picked up at Walmart. I actually picked this up just before we were all put on lockdown, and I used this bunch of flowers on one of my tablescape videos a couple weeks ago, my Pretty in Pink tablescape. I'll go ahead and leave that link up above if you're interested in seeing that. These are the same flowers that I used on that. On that one, all I did is I took this bunch of flowers and I wrapped them in some light pink tissue paper and put them on my table. And so I'm getting two different projects out of these flowers. This is such a great deal. They're such beautiful flowers. They're big, they're really nice. And they were only $5 for these flowers. And you get a lot in there, plus you get a lot of different types of greenery in the flowers themselves. So I just really like these. These are an awesome deal at Walmart. And I'm just going ahead and I'm cutting off all the parts of the flowers that I think I may want to use. And I'm going to just set the rest of the bunch off to the side here. And I made sure when I was grabbing some of the flowers off from it, I grabbed a bunch of different colors. And then the other thing that I'm using for this is this berry mix. And this is also from Walmart. And this berry mix cost me $2.49. And I'm going to go ahead and just cut off a few of these picks of berries, or the stems of berries on these. And I don't want the ones with the yellow. So I'm just first off going to go ahead and cut off some of these that just have the green on them. And then I will end up cutting off some with the yellow, but I don't cut down far enough to take the yellow with it. I just pull up the green, and I'm just going to use the green portion. Now, once I have my flowers all cut off that I want to use, I'm going to go ahead and start putting them in our bowl here. And whenever I do florals, I like to keep things very symmetrical. So if I put a flower on one side, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. It just makes it very pleasing to have it symmetrical. And I really like that look. It's very pleasing to the eye. So you can see I added one to the right, one to the left, and then I just put one right in the center. And you can see how large these flowers are. This is such a great deal for only $5 for this bunch of flowers. Now I have some of these a little too long, so I'm just going to go ahead and trim it down a little bit. And that's fine. I'd rather have things a little long than too short. You can always cut it down, but it's a little harder to add it back on again. And now we've added one of these light pink to that side, so we're going to just turn it around here and add one to this side. Again, just keeping everything very symmetrical. And I'm really liking that. Now, these do not have enough flowers in the sponge to be able to do exactly even on both sides. And that's okay if you have florals that you don't have an even number, as long as it's evenly spaced on each side, or it fills in about the same amount. So I have two of the light pink on that side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the smaller white one and I'm going to go ahead and tuck this one right in here on this side as if it was another one of these pink ones. Now it's not quite as large, and you'll see in a minute here, I'm going to go ahead and add another one of these in. But before I do that, I'm going to take some of these and I'm going to add some right here at the top with these. I'm just going to poke that one in there. And I'm really loving the way that looks. Now I'm going to go ahead and add one of those in on the other side. Again, just keeping it all very symmetrical. Good. I'm loving that. Now I'm going to add in a few of these berry bunches. And this is really going to help give some texture to this floral arrangement. And now they did have some of these berry bunches in our inspiration piece. Now I'm not trying to go exactly as the inspiration piece. I'm kind of letting this floral arrangement speak to me. So I'm putting it where I see an empty spot or something that needs filled in, but I'm still going along with the inspiration of our inspirational piece. And again, with these, just where you see an empty spot, go ahead and put one of those in. It just helps fill in there. Now, as I'm looking around here, I can see that there's a little bit too big of an empty spot on this side. So I'm going to go and take and cut off another one of these white flowers. And I believe that these are supposed to be like white rhododendrons. I may be wrong with that, but I think that's what this is supposed to be. And I'm going to clip that off. And now instead of putting that right next to the other white flower, I'm going to go ahead and put that on the other side of this pink one right here. That way it will take up the same amount of room as having two of those big pink flowers on the other side. And yet it's still keeping everything symmetrical looking on that side with one on each side of the pink flower. And I'm thinking this is looking beautiful already. I'm liking the way that's looking. Now I decided I was going to cut this next little thing off, this next little branch of flowers off from our bunch of flowers. Once again, I like just adding a little bit more texture into our floral arrangement. So I'm going to poke these right in the top here, again keeping it symmetrical. And I'm loving the way that looks. And I absolutely love the fact that they had like pieces of this type of ivy in this bunch of flowers as well. So I'm grabbing a couple of these and poking these in. Now, I looked at the dimensions of our inspirational piece, and our piece is going to be the same dimensions as what our inspirational piece is. The inspirational piece was 9 inches wide by 12 inches tall, and we are doing the same here. I measured it out. I didn't actually film that part, but I did measure it out, and we have about the same. I think ours is maybe actually 1 inch wider. I just put our flowers out a little bit wider than what the inspirational piece was, but it's the same height. So this is very, very similar to what our inspirational piece is. And yet it's going to be so much less expensive, but absolutely beautiful. I think I'm using a little bit more florals in mine than what they did. I personally like a little bit fuller floral thing, so I put just a few more in mine than what they did. Now here it is, it's all done. Let me zoom in here and you can see here's our nice white bowl and our peonies right here in front and our little bit of ivy coming up on top. And let me show you exactly what it is that I had left over. Here is our florals that we had left from our bunch of flowers along with our berry pick. So let's take maybe $1 worth of flowers and berries off from our amount. So our bowl cost us $1 at the thrift store. Then we used $1 of foam from the Dollar Tree, and we used a $5 bunch of florals from Walmart and our $2.50 berry pick from Walmart. And that's everything that's in here. We used a little bit of leftover spray paint. So you add that all up, it comes to maybe $10. You take the dollar off for what we have left over for our bunch of flowers. This probably cost us actually closer to $8.50, $9, but I'm going to just call it $10. And here's the inspiration piece, and there's our piece that we did. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell so you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. Thanks so much for watching.